Hey Airsofters, Mike the Elbow Gator here, Airsoft Simulations Magazine. We're talking with Ben Noji, our friends here at Polarstar. Ben, how are you?
Good.
Alright, so tell us, man, we're here for the version 3 release for the AK bodies. Just give us a quick rundown. Tell us about...
The new version 3 is basically for AKs, G36s, any other TM compatible version 3 gearbox. It's not really modeled after any one in particular anymore. The whole purpose of that is more compatibility. You can see there's a couple spots here where it seems like there may be a gap or where this might be able to slide forward or down. A lot of that's been designed to be modular so that these particular components can be shifted into a couple different configurations to fit certain guns. One in particular would be Real Sword, which has a slightly shorter gearbox overall. The dust cover doesn't sit in quite the exact same place. The selector lever itself, the pivot point is at a different location. All these components have been designed to be modular or adjustable so that it can fit into a few different brands. It also makes it easy to swap between different models. This is showing the AK trigger, selector plate, selector components, and the AK motor cage, or what we call the grip mount, which simulates the motor cage. In order to switch it over to something like a UMP or a G36, would simply require changing the selector components from the G36 to the UMP, the trigger components, and the nozzle from us, which is the correct length for that particular model. That's pretty much all that's required to swap from different guns, and you'll notice these now use the original AEG selector plate and selector gears that the original replica used. The main purpose of that is what we ran into with the version 2 is variances from different manufacturers might cause it to not go into full auto with the selector, or sometimes it would go too far. By reusing the original selector plate, it eliminates a lot of that fitting, and it also makes it a lot faster for us to get expansion kits out to people. Before, it was a custom selector plate from us to fit a SCAR, or a custom selector plate to fit an MP5 or a G3. Now you just use the selector plate you had, and there's no need to wait for us to design special components for it.
So with that being said, let's say I have a G&G or an Echo 1 AK-47 variant of airsoft gun. I would have to provide my own selector switch from the previous gun itself, or does this come with it, and if it fits and it works, I can just drop it in and use it that way?
The FEV3 AK kit comes pre-configured with the AK selector components and trigger installed, ready to drop in the gun. If it fits with your gun, you don't have to do anything with it. Some guns you may need to reuse the original selector components, in which case you just set those aside and use the ones that came with your gun. Right,
and the interesting thing about this too is the feed hose that connects to the actual solenoid unit. Would you have to drill a hole inside of the actual the pistol grip?
There is some slight modification required, and that really is the only modification for an AK, is just to drill a hole just forward of the grip screw, and that allows the line to slide down through the bottom. Normally on an M4 we had the motor shim plate on the bottom, right, which either had the shim screw in the center, or you could take the plate off in its entirety. Because the motor cage is self-contained, the AK grip is closed on the bottom, and that screw is how we actually mount the grip. We had to route the line slightly to the side of that or forward of it. This is actually showing the LCT version, but it still should be compatible with the Echo 1's TM compatible guns, just like that one.
And it's just as light as the original version 2 Fusion kit. It's almost like no weight to it. It's amazing how much weight you cut off of the actual unit when you take out, you know, all the things that comprise the gearbox itself. Now let's talk about the UMP real quick.
The UMP is very similar to a G36 setup. It's actually almost exactly the same setup. We actually pulled that gearbox out of the version, well, that fusion engine came out of a G36 and went right into the UMP.
So it was just this with a different selector plate dropped right into the...
That and the G36, because of the way the safety mechanism works, has an additional plate that bolts onto the side, right, which contains that spring. There are already 2 mounting holes in here. You just reuse the plate from your G36.
Nice. And you wouldn't have to drill, you'd have to drill another hole into the bottom of the...
You don't have to with those, because there's no motor cage and the grip is open on the bottom. Nice. You don't necessarily have to. You could if you wanted to.
And with the composite body, the fact that it's not metal, this is almost weightless.
Yeah, a lot of the composite guns, the weight comes from the gearbox and the battery, so without that, it is definitely a little bit lighter.
And how would these retail compared to the original kit? Is there any difference in price, or is it just the same price?
Retail price for the version 3, the first generation version 3, is $525. I believe retailers will be selling it for slightly less than that, depending on what price they set it to.
Nice. All right, Ben, thank you very much.
No problem.
You know, we
Thanks
appreciate it. All right.